So we are discussing the phenomenon of resonance. The details you can read in the book or those are available anywhere, but we shall be discussing the theme in general first. So we had discussed substantial part of it in last session, but today we shall just recap and continue further. We are well acquainted with two elements, that is inductor and capacitor. Those are reactive elements and those offer differential linear relationship between voltage and current in exactly complementary forms. For capacitor, current is proportional to derivative of the voltage across it, and for inductor, voltage is proportional to derivative of current through it. So because of these, what we can say, opposite kinds of characteristics, obviously the combination of these two elements in different ways brings in interesting results. These are having opposite characteristics, and when those are combined, depending upon the way in which you combine, it leads to different what we can say somewhat surprising or interesting results we can see. One more thing which we should keep it in mind, that is the theme of resonance is applied in which it is presumed that we are offering a steady state sinusoidal voltage, or steady state means it is applicable in case of steady state where the excitation is sinusoidal. The concept of resonance is applicable in steady state conditions where the excitation is sinusoidal. Steady state means the excitation varies sinusoidally, and it is presumed that it has been applied substantially large time before, so that the issue of transients doesn't come. Because of these two phenomena, what happens is that when those are combined, again when we talk of sinusoidal voltage or sinusoidal current, what it is going to happen, sinusoid signal has got its derivative, and when we take derivative of sinusoid, the frequency of sinusoidal wave comes as a multiplier in the derivative. Therefore, when we talk about applying a sinusoidal voltage to a capacitor, the current will increase when frequency increases, because current is proportional to derivative of the voltage. Voltage having V sin omega t, its derivative is omega V sin omega t, and C is the constant of proportionality. That is, even if we separate that, derivative itself is omega V sin omega t, and omega comes as the, when we have say V sin omega t is the voltage, then V we say to be its amplitude, right? V. So when we take its derivative, or we can say Vp, right? So Vt is equal to Ip sin omega t, and it's dVt by dt. This amplitude increases by omega times. So if we are having a capacitor of C equal to 1, then It would be this. This is It, we can say. And we clearly find that the omega comes here, so that for same voltage applied, the current increases when frequency increases. Now, if we apply voltage across an inductor, what will happen? If we apply a voltage across an inductor, what will be happening? When a sinusoidal voltage applied across an inductor, how will you find the current through an inductor? It's not difficult, but we resort to integration, and it is somewhat problematic, we can say. Vt is again V sin omega t. What will be It? is an inductor of value 1 again. Value 1. What will happen? IT would be okay, but what it would be? It's integration. We can go by reverse way. What IT would be such that whose derivative sin omega t? Minus d upon omega, right? Is it right? Minus v upon omega cos omega would be the current. So we find that, and therefore if we take the ratio of voltage and current, we get for capacitor it is 1 upon omega c. For inductor it is omega L. These are the impedances. And the factor Z we take help because we have unwritten rule that Z sin omega t is cos. So cos omega t will be replaced by J sin omega t, and then if you take ratio Vt upon It, again I am telling this, it is not a systematic one. Just for making the understanding better, we are resorting to these means. So Vt is this, It is this. If you take ratio, it will be something tan. We don't want that. So just for cos omega t, you replace J sin omega t, and then what we get, sin omega t gets cancelled, Vt gets cancelled. What remains is omega. But here C was 1. If C is other than 1, then C would have come here, and L would have come here. So for by all these things, we say that capacitive reactance is 1 upon J omega C, and inductive reactance is J omega L. Capacitive reactance is 1 upon J omega C, and inductive reactance is J omega L. And when we combine them, there are two ways of combination. One is series, one is parallel. One is series and one is parallel. So obviously when we combine them in series, what is it? So this is 1. So if this becomes a composite component, what would be the impedance in between these two terminals? What would be the impedance in between these two terminals? So what is the impedance between these two terminals? X. So XS, it is the what we can say impedance. Actually it should be Z, but it is Z we can say. ZS and ZP. So what is ZS? So even roll numbers should compute ZS, odd roll numbers should compute ZP and give the answer. Even roll numbers will compute ZS and odd roll numbers will compute ZP. For say J omega L plus 1 upon J omega C, right? So multiply by J in the numerator and denominator for this. So in the denominator it comes J square, so it is minus 1. So it is J omega L, or capacitive reactance can also be said to be minus J upon omega C. So minus J upon omega C, that is equal to J into bracket omega L minus 1 upon omega C. Omega omega L minus 1 upon omega C. So it is what? It is better to treat capacitive reactance rather than 1 upon J omega C. It is preferable to treat it as minus 1 upon minus J upon omega C. Minus J upon omega C and inductor J omega L. So we can say that these are exactly opposite in nature. So now whether this is capacitive react, so it is very clear that it is a reactance because it does not have any real part as such. So this Zs is reactive. Is it capacitive reactance or inductive reactance? So this entire term J omega L minus 1 upon omega C. What this composite element, if you are not shown what the details are, whether this is capacitive element or inductive element. Depends on value of L and C only. Omega L and C are given. So for given L and C, depending upon omega, what will happen? If omega is small, we can just have very common sense discussion. Omega is large. What will happen? When omega is large, this term is larger, this term is smaller. So at large omegas, this is likely to act as inductive element. At small omegas, it is likely to act as capacitive element. And obviously, when there is a large and small, there is one more point which comes into picture. Something which is neither too large nor too small. What is that? There would be one omega for which both of these things would be equal. Means what we say, at large omegas, omega L is more than 1 upon omega C. At small omegas, omega L will be less than 1 upon omega C. And at a particular omega, there would be omega L equal to omega C. What that omega is? At omega equal to 1 upon root LC. At omega equal to 1 upon root LC, both would be equal, so this would be 0. So it will not be inductive, it will not be capacitive, it will be short. So this is called as resonant frequency, or called as omega R. Omega R. Is it clear? So before resonating frequency, capacitive reactance is more. So for every LC series combination, up to resonating frequency, it acts as capacitor. After resonating frequency, it starts acting as inductor. And at resonating frequency, it's a short. Clear? Then what will happen if it is put into circuit elements? That can be studied further. Now for this you compute ZP. What is ZP? Huh? It is again J omega L into, we can use 1 upon J omega C. It is J omega L 1 upon J omega C upon J omega L plus 1 upon J omega C. Correct? Is it all right? So what happens? In the numerator, these terms get cancelled. So we get L upon C. That is equal to L upon C. And here what we do, we better multiply. So how will you proceed further? We better multiply by J omega C entirely. J omega C entirely we multiply, and we have to also divide. So just it's very simple, actually it need not be explained at such high school level, but so it is minus omega square plus 1, multiplying it, and again we have to divide. Is it right? Is it okay? J square minus 1 omega square LC plus 1. So, and again this J omega C. This goes to numerator. This goes to numerator. So what it comes out to be ultimately? So this goes into numerator. So C gets cancelled. Is it right? C gets cancelled. And what we get? ZL upon 1 minus omega square LC. J omega L upon 1 minus omega square LC. Is it clear? So, how can you analyze this? How can I analyze this? Can somebody comment that the impedance, it is again reactive. Why? Because what is Z term? No real term. So, Z into bracket omega L upon 1 minus omega square LC, or LC you can write as omega R square also, 1 upon omega R square. So what will happen? The denominator is 1 minus omega square LC. So as long as omega square LC is less than 1, as long as omega square LC is less than 1, what will happen? This will be positive. Omega square LC less than 1 means omega square less than 1 upon LC means omega less than 1 upon omega less than omega R. Omega less than omega R, where omega R is 1 upon root LC. Omega less than omega R, what will happen? This would be positive. So it will behave as inductive element. Denominator positive, J omega L upon something, so J into something positive, so it would be inductive. It would be inductive. And when omega becomes more than omega R, what will happen? When omega becomes more than omega R, at that time the denominator will become negative and it would be capacitive. And at omega equal to omega R, what will happen? At omega equal to omega R,
infinity.
at omega equal to omega R, what will happen? Denominator is 0. So
Open circuit.
it will be open circuit. It will infinite impedance. It will have infinite impedance. So the as when omega is very much less than omega R, that time it is inductive, and inductive impedance start increasing as we approach towards omega R. And beyond omega R, it is capacitive, and capacitive impedance starts then reducing when we go further. bus capacitor in series is a variable reactance, fixed inductance and fixed capacitance in series that becomes frequency variable reactance, which can be either capacitive or inductive or short. Similarly, inductor and capacitor in parallel. Inductor and capacitor in parallel. What happens? So, inductor and capacitor in parallel again become a variable reactor, which is depending on frequency, which depends on frequency only. Only thing is that at resonating frequency, the reactance becomes infinite, and for that reactance becomes zero. For series combination, reactance becomes zero. For parallel combination, reactance becomes infinite. We started at 12:30. It's hardly 1:05. So it's not even a high school lecture of 35 minutes. Let us wind up with a appropriate note to continue for next time. So, if we now have a plot, so this is, so for both of these, we can have a plot of if we plot the graph of mod z versus omega. Mod means it is magnitude. So on one side it is positive, on one side it is negative. So for series it is like this. It is only frequency. For parallel it is so impedance, and on one side is inductive, on the other side is capacitive. Actually what happens is pure inductor and pure capacitor are there in only theory. So whenever we connect in that, actually a pure inductor cannot be constructed. It itself has got some resistive property. So an inductor constructed always comes with some resistor inbuilt inside it. So effectively we get a circuit like this always. So when we get this circuit, it is RLC series circuit, RLC parallel circuit. So at a resonating frequency, these two cancel and it becomes only resistance, right? Even for parallel circuit, at resonating frequency, this becomes infinite and only this remains, raised to element. Now, last time a task was given to you. What was that? I think you recollect the task. RLC series circuit, voltage was applied, Vt equal to cos t, cos half t, cos 2t, and for that we are supposed to calculate all the voltages. Right? This is the table. So you try to complete this. Think over this very carefully. By using differential equation, by using Laplace transform, or one more method I have suggested. What is that? Voltage and current at between any 2 points is always a sinusoid of the same frequency with different phase and amplitude. Or you can consider it to be A sin omega t plus B cos omega t. So by various ways we can solve these questions. By various ways we can solve all these questions and find out the answers. By Laplace, or by differential equation, or by conventional equation, we can solve all these things. Right? So I hope we take a lunch break now and we assemble at 2:15 again. At 2:15